Am I the asshole? I didn't invite my brother to my wedding. My whole family hates me because I didn't invite my brother to my wedding. But after 15 years of dealing with his addictions and lies, was I really the bad guy? Hi Reddit. I need your help figuring out if I really am an asshole, because my whole family is making me feel like the worst human being on the planet. My name is David, I'm 32 years old, and 3 months ago I married the love of my life, Sarah. It was the most beautiful wedding we could have imagined, except for the family drama that followed. All of this revolves around my younger brother, Kevin. Kevin is 28, and for as long as I can remember, he's been complicated. We grew up in a middle-class family. My parents, Carol and Richard, were always good to us. Dad's an accountant, mom's a nurse. Hardworking people, solid values, you know the type. Kevin and I were very close when we were kids. He was the fun younger brother, I was the protective older brother. We played video games together, built forts in the yard, the normal sibling stuff. But when Kevin hit his teenage years, something changed. He started hanging out with the wrong crowd in high school. At first my parents thought it was just a phase. You know, the classic, he's just finding himself. But it wasn't a phase. At 16, Kevin was arrested for the first time. Possession of substances. My parents freaked out, but he swore it was a mistake, that he was just holding a friend's backpack, that he didn't know what was inside. They believed him. I believed him too. 6 months later, he was arrested again. This time for shoplifting. Kevin cried, apologized, promised it would never happen again. And my parents, being the loving parents they are, gave him another chance. Meanwhile, I was in college studying engineering. I was a good student, had a part-time job, tried to stay away from the family drama. But every time I came home, there was a new crisis with Kevin. Things got worse. It wasn't just cigarettes anymore. Now it was pills, and later, harder substances. My parents spent thousands of dollars on rehab. One clinic. Then another. Then another. Kevin would come out clean, stay that way for a few weeks or months, and then relapse. Each relapse was more devastating than the last. He stole my mom's engagement ring to sell for drugs. By the time my parents realized, he had already pawned it. They had to pay to get it back. He stole money from the register at my dad's office, where Kevin had been given a job as a special favor, because no one else would hire him with his record. He stole my laptop when I came home one Christmas. I was working on my master's thesis, months of work. Kevin sold it for $200 to buy drugs. I lost everything. I had to start my thesis over from scratch. That was the first time I was truly angry at Kevin. Not just upset, furious. But my parents kept defending him. He's sick, David. Addiction is a disease. He can't control it. Yes, I understand addiction is a disease. But Kevin also did things that had nothing to do with drugs. He lied constantly. About everything. Big lies, little lies, pointless lies. He told me he had a job when he didn't. He told me he was going to AA meetings when he was really at home watching Netflix. I'd lend him money for food, and he'd spend it on drugs. One time I lent him $300 because he said he needed a deposit for an apartment to get away from bad influences. It was a lie. He blew it on a week-long bender. But what hurt the most was how he treated our parents. He manipulated them emotionally. Yelled at them when they didn't give him money. Guilt-tripped them for not supporting him when they refused to bail him out. I once found my mom crying in the kitchen after a fight with Kevin. I asked what had happened. Kevin says we're bad parents because we don't give him more chances, she sobbed. The woman who had spent her retirement savings on rehab centers. The woman who had worked double shifts to pay lawyers when Kevin had legal trouble. The woman who had lied to her friends for years to protect Kevin's reputation. And he made her feel like a bad mother. That's when I started setting boundaries with Kevin. I stopped lending him money. I stopped believing his stories without proof. I stopped covering for him when he skipped family commitments. My parents thought I was being too harsh. He's your brother, David. Family supports each other. I am supporting him by being honest, I'd say. You're enabling him. But they wouldn't listen. When I met Sarah 5 years ago, I told her everything about Kevin from the beginning. I didn't want surprises. Sarah is a social worker, so she understands addiction and family issues better than most. She was patient and compassionate. But she also saw things my family didn't want to see. Your brother doesn't just have a substance problem, she told me after meeting him. He's manipulative. And your parents are codependent. She was right. It hurt to hear, but she was right. Kevin, of course, hated Sarah from the start. Your girlfriend hates me, he'd say. She's trying to turn you against the family. It wasn't true. Sarah was always polite with Kevin. She just didn't fall for his manipulation the way the rest of us had for years. He couldn't borrow money from her, because she always said no. He couldn't guilt her with sob stories, because she had heard them 1,000 times in her work. And that frustrated him. 2 years ago, when Sarah and I got engaged, Kevin had another big relapse. He'd been clean for 8 months. My parents were so proud. He had a job, his own small apartment, it looked like things were finally going well. Then one night, my mom called me at 2 a.m. David, Kevin's in the hospital. Drug-related health problems. Sarah and I rushed to the hospital. My heart sank. Kevin was in intensive care. The doctors didn't know if he would wake up. My parents were devastated. My mom couldn't stop crying. My dad looked like he had aged 20 years overnight. We stayed all night. Sarah held me while I tried not to think about losing my brother. Kevin woke up the next day. He was weak, confused, but alive. The first thing he said was, "I'm sorry." I cried. I couldn't help it. For a moment, he was my little brother again. The kid who built forts with me in the yard. "I'm going to change," he said. "This time is different." I almost died. That opened my eyes. I believed him. I wanted to believe him so badly. Kevin went straight from the hospital into a 90-day rehab program. The most expensive one my parents could afford. During those 90 days, he sounded different on the phone. More mature, more self-aware, more humble. Even Sarah admitted he sounded better. When Kevin got out of rehab, things seemed good for a while. He got a job with a construction company. He moved into a new apartment. He was going to meetings every night. Sarah and I started planning our wedding for the following November. Kevin seemed excited about it. He asked about the plans, offered to help however he could. For the first time in years, I thought maybe we could have a normal sibling relationship. But then, 6 months before the wedding, Kevin disappeared. He didn't answer his phone. He stopped showing up at work. His landlord called my parents because he hadn't paid rent in 2 weeks. My parents went to his apartment. The door was unlocked. The place was a disaster. The TV, computer, and anything valuable were gone. Kevin had relapsed again. And this time, he vanished completely. 2 months passed with no word from Kevin. My parents were desperate. They called every hospital, every jail, every rehab center. Nothing. I was worried too, but honestly, I was also relieved not to be dealing with Kevin's chaos while already stressed with the preparations. We had invited 150 guests, had to coordinate catering, music, flowers, everything. The last thing we needed was another Kevin crisis. 3 months before the wedding, Kevin reappeared. My mom called me crying with joy. "David. Kevin's alive. He's home." Of course he was home. Where else would he go when he needed rescuing? I went to see him that night. He looked awful, thin, dark circles under his eyes, sickly. "Brother," he said when I walked in, "I know you're mad at me." "I'm not mad, Kevin. I'm tired. This time it's different. I hit rock bottom. I lived on the street for 2 months. It was horrible. But it made me realize what really matters. The same story as always. Different words, same message." "Where have you been?" I asked. "With some friends. But they were bad influences. That's why I left. I knew I had to get out of that environment." Lies. Everything out of his mouth was lies. My parents had filed missing person reports. They had hired a private investigator. They had spent sleepless nights wondering if he was dead. And he had just been with friends. Kevin, Mom and Dad were desperate. "Why didn't you call?" "I didn't have a phone. Anne. I was afraid of disappointing them again." More lies. "Are you going back to rehab?" I asked. "I don't need rehab. I can do this on my own. I learned my lesson." Sarah was with me during that conversation. Later, when we left my parents' house, she said what I already knew but didn't want to admit. "He hasn't changed, David." "How can you be so sure?" "Because I've seen this 1,000 times at work. People don't change patterns just because they spent a couple of months on the street." She was right. But I still had hope. That hope lasted exactly 2 weeks. Kevin stole $40 from my mom's wallet. Enough to buy drugs. When my mom confronted him, he denied it furiously. "How could you accuse me of that?" He made her feel guilty. "I thought you trusted him." But my dad had installed security cameras after previous incidents. He checked them. There was Kevin, taking the money from her wallet. When confronted with the video, Kevin admitted it, but instead of apologizing, he got angry. "You spy on me with cameras in your own house? That's sick. You don't trust your own son." Somehow, he was the victim. A week later, Kevin showed up at my office. I work at an engineering firm downtown. He had never come to see me at work before. He looked terrible. Clearly using again. "David, I need to talk to you." "How did you get here?" "Took the bus." "Listen, I need a favor." Of course he did. "What do you want, Kevin?" "I need to borrow some money. Just $500. I swear I'll pay you back." "Kevin, you just stole from Mom. Why would I give you money?" "Because you're my brother. And if I don't get this money, I'm in serious trouble." "What kind of trouble?" He looked nervous. "I owe money to some bad people. If I don't pay soon, they're going to hurt me." This was new. He'd never claimed dangerous debts before. "How much do you owe?" $1,000. "And you think $500 will be enough?" "It shows them I'm trying. They can wait for the rest." I didn't believe a word, but part of me was scared. What if it was true? "Kevin, if you really owe dangerous people, go to the police." "I can't. That would make it worse." "Then leave town. Go stay with Aunt Michelle in Phoenix until it blows over." "I can't leave. I have commitments here." "Commitments?" Kevin had no job. No apartment. "What commitments?" "Kevin, I'm not giving you money." His whole face changed. The desperate brother mask dropped, and for a second I saw something cold in his eyes. "Wow," he said. "Your own wedding is coming up and you can't help your brother. That's sad. My wedding has nothing to do with this. Doesn't it? You're spending thousands on a party, but can't help your brother when his life's in danger. I don't believe anything you say anymore." He went quiet for a moment. Then he said, "Sarah really brainwashed you, didn't she? Leave her out of this. She's the reason you don't care about family anymore. Kevin, leave. Now." "Fine," he said, standing up. But when something bad happens to me, remember, you could have stopped it. He slammed my office door on the way out. That night I told Sarah. She was worried. Do you think he really owes money to dangerous people? I don't know what to believe anymore. Did you tell your parents? No. If I do, they'll just give him the money. Sarah nodded. She knew I was right. David, you need to think about something. What? Do you really want Kevin at the wedding? The question hit me like a punch. He's my brother. Yes, but look what just happened. He came to your job, manipulated you, threatened you, insulted your fiancé. Do you really think he'll behave at the wedding? I hadn't considered it, but she was right. Kevin in his current state would be a disaster. What are you suggesting? Maybe you shouldn't invite him. The idea seemed impossible. How do you not invite your own brother to your wedding? But the more I thought about it, the more sense it made. Kevin would show up high, or cause drama, or ruin the most important day of my life. I can't do that. My family would kill me. They'll have to understand you're protecting your special day. I couldn't sleep that night. I kept thinking about all the years of lies, theft, manipulation. Why should he ruin my wedding too? 2 days later, my parents called. Kevin had disappeared again. This time he had stolen $200 from my dad's desk before leaving. Are you calling the police? I asked. We can't, my mom said. He's our son. He's stealing from you. That's a crime. David, please. We're already heartbroken. I hung up, frustrated. Sarah asked, so? Are you inviting him? I don't even know where he is. Sarah, but if he shows up, I don't know if I cannot invite him. He's my brother. She sighed. You need to decide. Either you invite Kevin and accept drama, or you don't invite him and protect your day. She was right. I couldn't have both. Kevin reappeared a week later, at my parents' house. When I found out, I went to talk to him. He was in his old room. He looked worse than ever, clearly using heavily. Hey, brother, he said. Kevin, we need to talk. I know what you're going to say. You're right. I'm a mess. That's not what I came to say. No. Kevin, my wedding is in 2 months. I know. I'm excited. Kevin. I don't think you can come. He froze. What did you say? I'm not inviting you to my wedding. Is this a joke? It's not a joke. He jumped up. You're not inviting me. Your own brother. Look at yourself, Kevin. Do you really think you can handle being there? Of course I can. It's your wedding. I'll behave. You said the same thing at cousin Jake's wedding, and you ended up throwing up in the bathroom because you were high. That was years ago. It was 8 months ago. Kevin went silent. Brother, he finally said, I know I've messed up. But it's your wedding. You can't not invite your brother. Yes, I can. And I am. This is because of Sarah, isn't it? No. It's because of me. I want a day without drama, without stress, without worrying about what you'll do. Kevin started crying. I promise I'll be good. No drinking, no drugs. I swear. It was heartbreaking. But I'd heard those promises hundreds of times. I can't risk it, Kevin. I'm your brother. Brothers support each other. I've supported you for 15 years. I've lent you money, covered for you, given you endless chances. Not this time. If you don't invite me, I'll never forgive you. I'm sorry. My decision's made. I left, heartbroken, but relieved. The next day my parents called, furious. How could you not invite your brother? He's not in a condition to go to a wedding. He can recover in 2 months. Based on what? How many times have we had this conversation? My dad joined the call. David, you're his big brother. You're supposed to protect him, not abandon him. I'm not abandoning him. I'm protecting my wedding. You're selfish, my mom said. Sarah changed you. This has nothing to do with Sarah. Of course it does. Before her, you always supported Kevin. Supported him? You mean enabling him to steal and manipulate us? He's sick, David. Yes, he's sick. But that's not an excuse for everything he does. The fight ended with my mom crying and my dad hanging up. From that moment, my parents treated me differently. Cold. Distant. The wedding day arrived. It was beautiful. Sarah looked radiant, I felt like the luckiest man alive. But half my family didn't come. My parents came, but barely spoke to me. They looked sad, angry, disappointed. My aunts and uncles were divided. Some congratulated me, others judged me. My cousin whispered, "You did the right thing," while another said, "You'll regret this." After the ceremony, Sarah and I danced, laughed, celebrated. For a few hours, everything was perfect. But at night, when I saw the empty chairs where family should have been, I felt a hole in my chest. Kevin wasn't there. And as much as I hated him for everything, part of me missed him. Now, 3 months later, my relationship with my parents is broken. They barely answer my calls. When they do, it's cold and short. They see me as the son who abandoned his brother. Sarah tells me I did the right thing. If Kevin had been there, he would have ruined it. You protected our day. I know she's right. But sometimes, at night, I wonder. Am I the asshole for not inviting my own brother to my wedding?